Good morning, Year 3. Okay then, so today we are going to be reading chapter 15 of Gangsta Granny, Reckless and Thrilling. When Granny had put her clothes back on, she and Ben sat down on the sofa. Granny, before Mr. Parker turned up, you were telling me there was one jewel that you never stole, Ben whispered. There is something quite special that every great thief in the world would love to get their hands on, but it's impossible. It just can't be done. I bet you could do it, Granny. You're the greatest thief in the world has ever known. Thank you, Ben. Perhaps I am, or rather was. And stealing these particular jewels might be every great thief's dream, but it would just be, well, impossible. Jewels? There's more than one. Yes, my dear. The last time anyone tried to steal them was 300 years ago. A Captain Blood, I believe. And I am not sure the Queen would be pleased, she chuckled. You don't mean... The crown jewels, yes, my boy. Ben had learned about the crown jewels in a history lesson at school. History was one of the few subjects he liked, mainly because of all the gory punishments they used to have in the olden days. Hanged, drawn and quartered was his absolute favourite, but he also liked the breaking wheel, being burned at the stake, and of course a red-hot poker up the bum. Who doesn't? At school, Ben had learned that the crown jewels were in fact a set of crowns, swords, sceptres, rings, bracelets, and orbs, some of which were nearly 1,000 years old. They were used when a new king or queen was crowned, and since 1303, the year, not the time, they had been kept under lock and key in the Tower of London. Ben had begged his parents to take him to them, but they had moaned that London was too far away, even though it wasn't that far. To be honest, they never really went anywhere as a family. When he was younger, Ben used to listen in silent wonder to his classmates as they recounted their mad adventures in show and tell, trips to the seaside, visits to museums, even holidays abroad. The knot in his stomach would tighten when his turn came. He was too embarrassed to admit that all he had done during the holidays was eat microwavable meals and watch TV. So he would make up stories about flying kites and climbing trees and exploring castles. But now he had the greatest show and tell of all time. His granny was an international jewel thief, a gangster. Except if he showed or told this, the old dear would be put in prison and they would throw away the key. Ben realised that this was a big chance to do something crazy and reckless and thrilling. I can help you, said Ben, in a cool and calm manner, though his heart was beating faster than ever. Help me do what? Replied the old lady, a little befuddled. Steal the crown jewels, of course, said Ben. Okay, that was a short chapter. Right then, so your task today, and I'm going to go straight onto the flip chart so I can tell you, start from the very beginning so you don't see what you're going to do before I have a little bit of a talk with what you need to include, okay? So we're going to be doing some narrative writing today. And so Ben, you're going to pretend that Ben has just told all of his friends about his and Granny's plan to steal the crown jewels. Okay, so in the chapter, it spoke about Ben telling in show and tell. All right, so I know how much you all love show and tell. So you're going to imagine that Ben has told all of his friends about his and Granny's plan to steal the crown jewels. So today you are going to write a short narrative story where Ben's friends are supporting him on his decision to go with Granny to steal the crown jewels. Okay, so they're not saying to him, no, don't do that, Ben, it's really dangerous. They actually might be saying, actually, yeah, Ben, you can do this. You are a legend. You're going to be able to do this, no problem at all. Okay, so a few bits that you need to include today then. I want you to try and include some inverted commas today, please. So we know inverted commas, so you might hear them as speech marks. They go around the speaker's words only. Okay, so you use them in stories to show when a character is speaking. I'm going to do a bit of an example over here to help you out a little bit more with speech marks, because this is the error that some children make. Oops, and I'll change the colour so you can see. Okay, so some children will open the speech marks, which is great, okay? And then I am going to steal the jewels, said Ben. Okay, now as much as that may look right to you because you've got opening inverted commas and closing inverted commas, actually, if Ben is saying, I am going to steal the crown jewels, he is not going to say, said Ben. Okay, so actually, that should be, and I'll put it in green, so your open inverted commas, I am going to steal the crown jewels. And said is boring. Please don't use said today in your work, okay? I want you to use better words than said. And on the next 2 pages, I've put lots of different synonyms for those words that you may come across today. Okay, so I'm going to put announced. That's a nice word instead of using said. Announced Ben. Okay, so as you can see, and I'm going to get my highlighter out and I'm going to use pink, I think. Okay, so we've got opening, closing speech. Before we close that speech, you need to put a piece of punctuation. Now, usually that will be a comma, okay? However, if you want to say a question, it will be a question mark. And if you want to obviously do an exclamation mark like I have, that's okay. But you won't be shouting all of the time, so don't get carried away by using exclamation marks. All right, so just remember that when you are writing and using inverted commas, the first inverted commas open up the speech sentence, okay? The last inverted commas, they close the speech sentence. Okay, so just remember that this bit here, that is wrong. Okay, that's not how we use inverted commas. This is. Okay, so if you need any help, please email myself or Mr. Grocott or look back at this video and we can help you. Okay, so I want you to try and use some inverted commas, get some speech in there today. And then these are the 2 pages that you have got to help you with those boring words, okay? And you've got those as well. All right, so don't forget to pause the video. It doesn't matter that you can pause the video and use these words. That's what they're there for. It's very difficult because we are not at school. Obviously, if we were at school, we would have put these on Google Drive for you or even printed some off for you. Okay, so just because you're on a different platform of learning doesn't mean that you don't have the same resources. All right, so please use these because they will be very, very useful for you. Okay then, so I'm going to show you my waggle now and we're going to go through it together. And we're going to see what we can find in there. Okay? Right then, so Ben was feeling very giddy with eagerness. His legs were shaking and he could feel the excitement in the air. The idea of stealing the crown jewels had made him feel elated and full of life. However, his friends didn't look as interested. What if you get caught? Loudly exclaimed Joe as he was checking over his shoulder. His voice sounded worried and Ben suddenly felt a little bit nervous too. Ben can do anything, his best friend Michael shouted loyally. We are all behind you because we are your friends, Michael continued, looking Ben in the eye. But you need to think carefully about this, he added with a slight smile. Suddenly, Ben started to question his ideas and feelings. His friends were supporting him, but he was starting to think if they might be right. Was it a crazy idea? Would he be caught and thrown into jail? He would need to seriously consider this outrageous suggestion. Okay, so as you can see, there's not a lot there, and I don't want you to write a massive story today, just a short part, okay? And I want you to include some inverted commas. We're going to have a look at the inverted commas that we can see today on here. Let's go for green again. Okay then, so here we go. Opening inverted commas, closing inverted commas, and then you've got your punctuation there as well. Okay, so that is exactly what Joe is saying. Joe has said, what if you get caught? And that's what is inside the inverted commas. Okay, here again, opening inverted commas, closing inverted commas, and your punctuation before the end. Ben can do anything. Again, opening, punctuation, closing, opening, punctuation, closing. Okay, so Michael isn't saying Michael continued looking Ben in the eye, because that isn't in inverted commas. What he is saying is has gone inside the inverted commas. Okay, so we've got inverted commas today, and then we've also got some excellent vocabulary. So he was feeling giddy with eagerness. So I haven't just said that he was feeling excited. Okay, I really up-leveled my vocabulary today, which is something that I want you to try and do as well. His legs were shaking and he could feel the excitement in the air. Could he actually feel excitement? Can you actually feel excitement? Can you actually touch it? No, you can't. So that's called a metaphor, which is a really good piece of language to use. The idea of stealing the crown jewels had made him feel elated and full of life. Not just saying he felt really happy about it, okay? Up-leveling that vocabulary at all times. Now, here, loudly, we've got how Joe exclaimed. We haven't got that boring said word. Okay, so please use adverbs to say how the person has said something, has exclaimed something, has asked something. Okay, let's go back to these words. Has whispered something, has stated something, has giggled something, has moaned something, has joked something. Okay, so you've got loads of synonyms there for you to use. Ben can do anything. His best friend Michael shouted loyally. We are all behind you because you are friend. We are all your friends. But you need to think carefully. Okay, right then. Suddenly, Ben started to question his ideas and feelings. His friends were supporting him, but he was starting to think if they might be right. Was it a crazy idea? Question mark. Rhetorical question used there. Would he be caught and thrown into jail? Rhetorical question there. Okay, he would need to seriously consider this outrageous suggestion. Oh, and I've just forgotten an exclamation sentence there. Right then, so don't forget, I'm going to go back now and show you your task. Here we go. So this is what you will get sent on your email today, along with the video. So this is, obviously, you're going to write a short narrative where Ben's friends are supporting him on his decision to go with Granny to steal the crown jewels. Think about your word choices. So that's why we've just spoken about up-leveling that vocabulary. And again, there is my waggle that we have just gone through and highlighted. All right. So please have a go today and try your best using not a lot of speech, but try to use some speech and using those inverted commas correctly. Remember, if you have forgotten how to use inverted commas, look back at this page, pause the video and have a go. Okay, remember, this is the incorrect way, this is the correct way. All right then, have a super day. Please email myself or Mr. Grocott if you need any help, and we will try our best to help and support you. Talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.